guys, welcome back to Police Bike Rider. It is fantastic to have you here as ever. Alright, so today I am on a Lifan Lycan 250cc. This is one of the best experiences of my life up to date. That S1000RR that I rode, that was amazing, but I love this bike already. I've been riding it most of the day. So today what I'm going to be talking about is the top 5 reasons why you should buy this bike, the Lifan Lycan 250. Alright, so number 5. It is not the most important, but I felt like it should be included in this list. Number 5 is going to be price. So why is that one of the main reasons? So one of the things that I love about Lifan as a company is their motorcycles are relatively cheap. I mean, their KP Mini is stupid cheap. It's like $2,000 cheaper than like a Grom or a Z125. It's awesome, but you also get a really good product, and that is the same thing when it comes to the Lycan. Some of the prices I've seen are around $3,000, but then I've seen other ones that are $3,699, so $3,699, and that's the price that I found for this model. So yeah, but the price on these bikes are incredible. They actually are really well established, and I feel like for what you get for the bike, it's a really good price. What also entails with that, or what goes along with the price of the bike and how cheap it is to not only get a starter cruiser, I mean, it's a cruiser. Think about it, like Harley's is $8,000 for their 883. It's something crazy. The bike is not worth that. And then like the Honda Rebel, the 250, I think the last model they had was the 2016, and that was like $3,299. $3,299 for a 2016, and that would be new. Even used ones are like $3,000. Obviously you can find a Honda Rebel for like pretty crazy cheap on Craigslist, but good luck finding it actually working well and not having to buy a bunch of parts. But yeah, so the price on this bike is awesome, and I'm really excited for what Lifan has come up with in terms of that. Alright, so the number 4, that's 5. Number 4 reason why I believe that you should invest your money into this bike, your hard-earned sweat, blood, tears, all kinds of stuff, money into this bike that Lifan has come up with, the Lycan 250. Number 4 reason is going to be style. Now, if you saw my previous video, the first ride, you can see all those B-roll shots of how good this bike looks. Everyone's gonna have their opinion on the exhaust. I know that. The exhaust is not my favorite. I think it's like 8 times bigger than it needs to be. But I think I think they did a pretty good job for what they had. It's definitely an emissions thing to have an exhaust that big. But everything else looks really good. It's got 18s in the front, or 18-inch rims in the front, 15s in the back, 130 by 90 rear tire, and 90 by 90 in the front. It's good size. And then one thing I like that they did, I feel other motorcycles in this category don't do very well, or other companies don't do super well with this style, is the flow of the bike. So the front end doesn't feel too long, and then the tank here, it looks big, but it's not too big. And it doesn't feel too big when you're sitting on it. Also, the seats are a pretty good style. They're not too flashy, they're not too big, they're comfortable. And then the only thing that I would say I don't love, besides the exhaust maybe, would be the back fender. I guess you maybe would call it like a fender well, but the whole thing that covers the back wheel, it's way too big. I would bobber style that almost immediately. I mean, you might be sacrificing a rear seat, like a passenger seat, but who are you kidding? You got a 250. Are you really going to be putting a passenger on the back of this thing? But yeah, so style, I think they did a really good job with the style on this bike. So yeah, that was the number 4 reason. Number 3 reason, that is going to be Lifan, the company itself. I've done extensive research on what I can find out about Lifan. My very first video that I ever did about Lifan was a KP Mini 150, that small engine velocity let me borrow. It's his personal KP Mini. And I found out some really incredible things about Lifan. How they started as this, company that was making really small displacement scooters, and then they started making a little bit larger displacement, and they started making little cars and little trucks and little vans, and they kind of grew a little bit as a company. But in America, they're not established at all. I mean, I can't say at all because I'm riding one and there are dealerships around, and you can go to a lot of dealerships that may not have them on the showroom, but they're going to, you can ask them, hey, do you have this bike? I'm really interested in it, and they can get it. I love this turn. It's probably the slowest I've ever taken this turn, but yeah, so the company itself, investing in Lifan is, in my opinion, such a good idea. They do a really good job giving you a solid product, especially with the price. And I know that was number 4, but I'm kind of blending it a little bit. The prices they have on these bikes, they do a really good job with that. The number 3 reason was investing in Lifan as a company. They have done a really good job with setting up their bikes for Americans and bringing over their small scooters, their KP Mini and the KPR 200, and then this cruiser style in there, giving us a product that we're actually going to want, and people that like the smaller displacements motorcycles and beginners are really going to enjoy. So yes, the secondary reason, boom, number 2 reason is going to be ride quality and the quality of the bike itself. Now, my first look at this bike was online when I was searching for a Lifan that I might want to own myself. And this one, it just like, I don't think it was this one specifically, actually. I believe it was a 150 cruiser. I was like, man, they did a pretty good job making that look good. And then when this bike came out, or not came out, but was available for purchase here in the LUSIO, and then when Ceasar displayed this bike, I was like, oh my goodness, that's, yeah, I would like that bike. Oh man, that bike looks so good. And it looked like it'd be a bunch of fun, and I'm not wrong. I wasn't wrong. This bike is a lot of fun. But the ride quality itself is pretty good. I will say that it does have quite a bit of vibrations. Not so much in the handlebars like I was expecting. The mirrors, yes. I mean, they're directly, there's no rubber grommets anywhere. This is just a cover for the bolts. So yeah, the mirrors are pretty much useless. You can kind of see behind you, but it is not a clear picture at all. But the vibrations in the handlebar itself are not really all there. My hands aren't getting numb is the point I'm trying to get to. There's not enough vibrations for it to be uncomfortable. However, the seat, that's definitely a different subject. But the quality of the seat itself is good. It's just the vibrations in the seat, no bueno. My bum gets numb pretty fast. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. I feel like I'm saying it that way because I'm trying to concentrate on turning around at the same time. But yes, when you go over 5,000 RPMs, when you're riding below, like 4,000, 4,500 RPMs, if that's where you're riding at, it's not uncomfortable at all, especially when you get below 4,000 RPMs and you're just cruising at that. But the only issue is when you're cruising in 5th gear at around 4,000 RPMs, you're only going like 40 miles an hour. I think, yeah, I'm only going 40 miles an hour. I'm right on 4,000 RPMs, 5th gear, and there's almost no vibrations on the bike. But then I give it a little bit of gas, and now my bum is getting numb. So that's the only like not great thing about the quality of the bike. or the ride quality, but the suspension is really good. There's some really bumpy parts on these Texas roads that I'm sure others can relate to, especially riders. I'm sure you know what roads I'm talking about. Jones Road, Grant Road. Oh man, some pretty bumpy areas. Cypress Wood. But the suspension takes it all. The front suspension doesn't feel like, I mean, it's solid, but then when it takes those potholes, it does a pretty good job. Now, if it's a big pothole, I mean, if it's gonna hurt a car, it's gonna hurt this bike. So, yeah. But the rear suspension is pretty good. I do know that there is a way to stiffen it and then also soften it. So if you're a little bit lighter of a person, you can soften it, or you know, you can just soften it as much to see before the back wheel well like hits the tire on any given bump. But then you can also stiffen it if you want to, if you're a little bit of a heavier person. I just left it on where Ceasar had it, or Small Engine Velocity had it, because I didn't feel like changing it. He said I probably wouldn't need to. Alright, so for the number one reason why you should buy a Lifan Lycan 250, it's an amazing beginner bike. And honestly, this thing could help anyone trying to begin riding, but especially somebody wanting to start on a cruiser. It's not surprising that many riders enter their beginning journey on a motorcycle on a 250. They're light, they're maneuverable, they're typically cheaper, especially insurance. But what I like that Lifan did here with the Lycan is what some companies lack with beginner bikes. They didn't sacrifice the style of the bike with the price point. It looks really good. I mean, it looks good. Way better than the typical Honda Rebel or like a Hisun, you know, like what we remember riding on the MSF safety course. Now, I'm not dogging on the bulletproof engine of the Honda Rebel. Only the stuck in 1985 style. But to each his own. It is a retro look. So one thing that Lifan does is offer different styles of these smaller displacement motorcycles. But yes, this is an amazing entry into the smaller displacement, like 250cc cruiser style motorcycles. It's awesome. And that's kind of where I feel like this bike is going to be targeted towards, is that audience. Those you know, ladies and gents, you know, let me give you a scenario. Let's say that you are a guy that has been riding Harleys your whole life, or you've been riding cruisers or sport bikes, or you were riding sport bikes and then you got off a cruiser. I know this is a long rant, but there's a point to it. But then your wife starts to get interested. Maybe, you know, the kids are out of the house, or she just wants to be a part of the hobby and not ride on the back of the bike. This bike would be a perfect entry for her. Now, another scenario, what if your wife is the one, or your girlfriend or your significant other is the one that rides, and she wants you to get involved, but you're like, I don't know, I don't really like sport bikes, I don't really love cruisers, but she's like, I got a bike for you, it's $3 grand, brand new, let's do this. And he's like, yeah, all right, I can swing that, let's do it. And then gets on this bike and he's like, gosh, this thing is so easy to ride. This thing is awesome. It turns well. He or she is gonna learn how to ride well on this bike. So that's definitely something I'm excited for, and I feel like that is going to be where this bike is going to be targeted towards, or how it should be targeted. Because it's a good bike. Now, on the other side of that, as an amazing beginner bike, it's also just a good bike. And this is kind of part of the number one reason, but it's just a little bit extra. So it's just a good bike. It's got good, like, actually really good handling. Like, this thing is so nimble, and I don't feel like it's gonna just fall out from under me. The brakes are really good. The suspension is really good. The tire size is good. I love that it's got 2 disc brakes, one in the front and the back. No drum brakes. Nope, none of that stuff. It's got a pretty good display. It's not the brightest in the world, but I can still see it even with polarized sunglasses. And then you've got the most important, well, I mean, most important to me is the RPMs on a analog, so that you can still check where you're at, even though you can't see it on LCD digital display. That's assuming you can't. But I'm guessing in the rain it'll be a lot easier to use the analog. So anyway, but it's just a good bike. So anyway, those are the top 5 reasons why I believe that this bike should be bought by you. Now quickly, I want to give a humongous shout out to Small Engine Velocity for letting me use yet another one of his bikes, man. You're so cool. I love that I get the chance to ride these bikes. I mean, I would love the chance to get them through Lifan and have a partnership with them and be able to promote their company, because I really like it. I like what they come up with. Now Ceasar probably has a better understanding of the general like maintenance and quality of the bike, simply because he works on them. I don't know, he probably hasn't done much to this bike, but he's done a lot to his KP Mini, and I'm sure he's done some work on his KPR 200, or at least got a pretty good view or look into the insides of how that works, and you know, everything about it. Oh, I should have just kept going straight. This one goes all the way through. I didn't realize I did that. So yeah, but a huge shout out to him. And not only is he letting me borrow this Lycan, he's also letting me use this as my last ride here in Houston, Texas. Unless I visit again or something, but I'm moving, man. And this is the bike that I get to go out with. It's so awesome. I'm so happy that this is the bike I get to experience my last ride on. Woo! Yeah, man. Oh, because I wanted to ride this bike so bad. It was just so hard to get it all connected, and I really wanted to do a moto vlog with him, but it's all right, man. It's all right, because I got to ride it, and I got to do a stinking good review, first ride, and top 5 reasons. I got to spend some time on this thing. But anyway, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy future videos. I hope you enjoyed the first ride of the Lycan 250. And yeah, man, the next time you see me, I'll be doing my very last ride here in Houston. I'm hopefully doing that later with a buddy of mine. I'm not entirely sure when that video will come out. Hopefully doing that with a buddy of mine last ride, and it's going to be on this bike. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then I might record some of my actual move, but I'm not sure. I don't know, we'll see. But I'll talk about that a little bit later. Alright guys, y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and comment down below if you liked the video. If you have any more questions about the bike, if I didn't answer some things that I really wanted to on the first ride or on this top 5 reasons, just ask me in the comments below, and then hit that like button. All right, thanks y'all. Bye.